Hello everyone and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris, coming to you all this week from Manila in the Philippines. Right now, tonight, we are at Christ the King Parish in Manila. We're in the Philippines because we were invited to a series of pro-life talks sponsored by faithful Catholics in cooperation with their bishops, who are unafraid to battle against the culture of death. The bishops and faithful Catholics of this country are fighting against a bill in their government that would legalize contraception. The name of the bill is RH, Reproductive Health, which is ironic since it's not about reproduction but about preventing reproduction, and certainly isn't about health since it will lead to death. Contraception is illegal according to the nation's laws, and Planned Parenthood and their murdering allies have landed on the shores of this vastly Catholic country to bring death to future generations. But they have allies already waiting for them. One particular ally that was instrumental in turning America into a contraceptive nation. That ally is the Protestant heresy. Everywhere this heresy raises its ugly head, death follows in its wake. About 10% of the Philippines' population is Protestant. When Planned Parenthood and other murderous organizations came to this country and began fighting for contraception, the National Council of Churches in the Philippines, the NCCP, got right behind the effort to legalize contraception. The NCCP is a group of 10 mainline Protestant ecclesial communions. One of their leaders said, quote, "We leave to individual members the right to choose how to plan their families." Ah, yes, there's the heresy in action. The individual is supreme. No reference to authority other than the person. The Protestant heresy, all the way back to Father Martin Luther, has exalted the individual to such a high degree that the individual person is the decider of right and wrong, the arbiter of what is morally right and morally wrong. And golly gee, Willikers, we stupid backwater Catholics thought that was God's job description. Shucks, we've had it wrong all these centuries. Here's another shining example of the heresy in action. Quote, "As a council, we support the spirit of the reproductive health bill because it mainly talks about responsible family planning and giving the right to couples to determine how they could plan their families." There we go again, more self-determination, more acting like God. The NCCP is a group of 10 mainline Protestant congregations, as we said, that all support contraception, and they come to the Philippines, this overwhelmingly Catholic country, with their heretical poison and inject moral relativism into the population. A word to the Protestant heresy crowd. Take your poison theology and your code of moral relativism and leave this Catholic country. Haven't you brought enough death and destruction on the Western world that you don't have to infect this side of the globe as well? Contraception leads to abortion, period. That's why Planned Parenthood is here. That murderous gang has had plenty of practice at this game, just like they did in the United States. They first introduce contraception. Then, after a majority of people are accepting of that, after a period of time has gone by, a mentality sets in that says, I can have sex whenever I want. I won't get pregnant because I'm using contraception. So they have sex more often. Guess what? Every type of birth control has a failure rate of between 3 and 15%. If you run around having indiscriminate sex, which is what Planned Parenthood wants you to do, sooner or later, you're going to get pregnant. And guess who's waiting for you when all of a sudden you have that unintended pregnancy? Yep, the abortionists from Planned Parenthood. And by the way, they're going to hand you a bill for hundreds of dollars to cut your child to ribbons inside the womb. They get rich, you become a murderer, and your child dies. Like we said, they've had plenty of practice at this, and it all begins with contraception. That's why a comment from one of these leaders, I can't call him a bishop even though he calls himself a bishop, Marino Inong of the United Church of Christ here in the Philippines, that's why this comment is laughable. He says, "We leave to individual members the right to choose how to plan their families. This means they can apply modern or natural family planning methods. But we are definitely against abortion." Talk about delusional. Sooner or later, and most likely much sooner than later, abortion is going to come up. That's the whole plan here. Planned Parenthood is not here pushing for this new law so ferociously because they want to sell a few condoms. They want to make millions off Filipinos by killing their children who are conceived through frequent use of contraception that fails. See, one of the problems with subscribing to a heresy is that you become blinded to the truth. Now, to be certain, not every Protestant in the Philippines supports RH, but most do. Certainly all the mainline heavy hitters do. They include the Lutherans, the Baptists, the Episcopalians, the Salvation Army, the Methodists, the United Church of Christ, and so forth. The usual cast of characters. Funny, all of these religious bodies back in the United States all either support abortion or are split in their various groups over the question of abortion. That's why a comment from the leader of the United Church of Christ that they don't support abortion is just ridiculous. What he needs to say is, we don't support abortion yet. Protestantism is built on the individual and how the individual wants to interpret the will of God, the laws of God, the precepts of God. So today, they will accept contraception. And when it becomes convenient in a few years down the road, they will change, and then they will accept abortion. Just look at what they've already done in the United States. So, thanks, Father Martin Luther, for your legacy of death. Now your followers, at least here in the Philippines, can leave. We'll have more for you all this week as a report from the Philippines. God bless you. I'm Michael Voris.
Please help us keep delivering these kinds of messages that so desperately need to be heard and acted on. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber. Become immersed in the faith established by Jesus Christ. The Catholic Church is the only hope against evil because that is its God-given mission. As our Lord said, apart from me, you can do nothing. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber and come to learn and love Christ more deeply.